Imagine a world where ambition is the currency, and success is the ultimate prize. You are surrounded by countless individuals, all relentlessly pursuing their goals. Some choose the path of integrity, working diligently, playing fair, and clinging to their deeply held principles. Others, however, operate without such constraints. They lie, manipulate, and ruthlessly crush anyone who dares to stand in their way. Yet, when you look to the pinnacle of power, those who dictate the rules, who command vast empires, who seemingly own the very fabric of the world, who do you often find there? It is the ruthless, the unapologetic, the individuals who never hesitate to seize what they desire. This observation begs a profound question: why does the world seem engineered to favor those who disregard conventional morality? History, in its undeniable testament, screams back the answer. From the calculating Caesars and formidable emperors to conquering warlords and modern-day billionaires, a disturbing pattern relentlessly repeats itself: the most ruthless invariably rise to the top. This isn't merely a coincidence or a random glitch within an otherwise just system. On the contrary, this is the system. And to truly grasp its mechanics, we must delve into the revolutionary mind of Friedrich Nietzsche and confront one of the most unsettling truths about human nature: power is not a benevolent reward bestowed upon the good, it is a fierce prize seized by those bold enough to claim it. From an early age, we are conditioned to embrace a comforting, perhaps even naive, narrative, that success is the inevitable outcome of hard work, innate talent, and unwavering moral integrity. This ideal paints a picture of a just world where virtue is inherently rewarded. However, the harsh realities of history, the cutthroat arena of business, and the intricate dance of politics collectively narrate a profoundly different story, one far darker, yet ultimately more honest. Power, it reveals, does not inherently reward those who deserve it based on societal notions of goodness. Instead, it consistently rewards those who possess the acumen and audacity to take it. The world is not meticulously structured to uplift the virtuous, rather, it is fundamentally designed to serve those who keenly understand its underlying mechanics and are willing to exploit them without a moment's hesitation. Success, in this brutal landscape, is rarely a matter of fairness. It is, unequivocally, about control, strategic foresight, and the readiness to undertake actions that others would shy away from. Consider the undeniable prosperity of corrupt politicians. Why do they often thrive? Because they inherently grasp the intricate rules of the game far better than their honest, often constrained, counterparts. Politics is not primarily about justice, it is about influence, leverage, and the strategic deployment of authority. A leader adept at telling people precisely what they want to hear, who skillfully manipulates the system to consolidate and maintain authority, and who effectively silences any dissenting opposition, will almost always ascend higher than one who rigidly adheres to integrity at the expense of their own power. History undeniably demonstrates this principle: morality, when the ultimate goal is domination, can indeed be a profound weakness. The most formidable rulers throughout time were not necessarily the most ethical, they were, without exception, the most strategic. They made promises they never intended to keep. They forged alliances only to shatter them when it suited their overarching objectives. They understood, with chilling clarity, that power is never graciously bestowed, it is fiercely taken. Similarly, consider the ruthless CEOs who dominate entire industries. Their success is a stark reminder that business is not a benevolent charity, it is, at its core, a relentless war. A CEO who consistently prioritizes fairness over efficiency, loyalty over concrete results, or ethics over aggressive expansion will inevitably be crushed by competitors who are willing to make the excruciatingly difficult choices they refuse. The companies that not only survive but also flourish are often those that, when necessary, implement drastic measures like cutting thousands of jobs, even if it leaves countless lives devastated. The leaders who ascend to the highest echelons are those who proactively eliminate competition, not those who seek amicable coexistence. Thriving industries are frequently built upon the calculated exploitation of labor, markets, and natural resources. This might be an uncomfortable truth to acknowledge, but it remains an undeniable reality. The economy, in its rawest form, does not reward kindness, it rewards dominance. Why do history's greatest rulers often possess such dark, complicated pasts? Because true greatness, particularly in the realm of power, frequently walks hand in hand with an unwavering ruthlessness. Alexander the Great did not conquer the known world solely through diplomatic overtures, he famously burned cities to the ground. Julius Caesar did not ascend to unprecedented heights through honor alone, he famously betrayed the Roman Senate multiple times. Napoleon Bonaparte did not forge his vast empire by meekly following existing rules, he audaciously rewrote them to serve his own colossal ambitions. Power is never fundamentally about kindness, it is, first and foremost, about control. The rulers who etched their names indelibly into the annals of history all understood this singular, vital fact: a leader must often be feared before they can ever be truly loved. Fairness, in this context, is often little more than an elaborate illusion, a meticulously crafted tool designed to keep the weak and compliant in line. Society persistently instructs us to be fair, to play by its established rules, and to steadfastly believe that good people will ultimately prevail. But who, one might ask, created these very rules? Invariably, it is the very people who stand to benefit most from them. Workers are indoctrinated to maintain loyalty, even as corporations unceremoniously cut them loose the moment they become unprofitable. Citizens are taught to rigorously obey the law, while the elite skillfully bend it to their overwhelming advantage. The masses cling to the ideal of justice, oblivious to how those in power expertly manipulate the legal system to protect their own interests. Fairness, therefore, is not a universal, immutable law. It is a carefully constructed narrative engineered to maintain existing power structures and control. The real world, unvarnished and unromanticized, belongs to those who perceive this stark reality and act accordingly. Power is not about deserving it, it is, irrevocably, about seizing it. Friedrich Nietzsche, in his profoundly groundbreaking work Beyond Good and Evil, did not merely question conventional morality, he boldly exposed it as a meticulously crafted deception. He argued, with revolutionary fervor, that morality is not an objective, divinely ordained truth, but rather a sophisticated tool, a carefully constructed illusion wielded by the weak to shame, control, and ultimately restrain the inherently strong. What societies label as good and evil are, in Nietzsche's view, not universal, immutable laws but rather fluid social constructs, ingeniously designed to serve the specific interests of disparate groups. Weak individuals, often incapable of seizing power for themselves, strategically create moral systems that actively demonize strength, ambition, and self-assertion, while simultaneously glorifying submission, meekness, and humility. The strong, conversely, perceive morality for precisely what it is: a meticulously constructed cage, intended to limit and inhibit those who possess the inherent capacity and drive to rule. At the very core of Nietzsche's audacious philosophy lies the concept of the will to power, the fundamental, driving force that he believed animates all life. According to Nietzsche, human beings do not, at their deepest level, seek happiness, tranquility, or even mere survival as their highest, ultimate goal. Instead, they intrinsically crave power, the profound ability to impose their will upon the world, to mold reality according to their own singular vision. This will to power extends far beyond mere political or physical dominance. It is psychological, intellectual, and profoundly creative. The greatest minds throughout history, from groundbreaking philosophers and visionary artists to formidable warriors and empire-building rulers, were not passive seekers of abstract truth or static justice. They were, in essence, conquerors of reality itself, bending society, culture, and even the very definitions of morality to conform to their indomitable will. The will to power is not inherently about wanton cruelty, it is fundamentally about the relentless overcoming of limitations, a steadfast refusal to be bound by what Nietzsche deemed weak moralities, and the courageous forging of one's own, unique path. Those who fully embrace this inherent drive are the ones who ultimately shape history. Those who deny it are condemned to become mere footnotes within its vast expanse. Nietzsche famously divided the world into two distinct moralities: master morality *. This is the morality of the strong, the noble, and the self-sufficient. It unequivocally values strength, bold ambition, and the constant striving for self-overcoming. It embodies the mindset of natural leaders, formidable warriors, and groundbreaking creators, individuals who do not seek external approval or permission but possess the inherent drive to simply take what they desire. The strong, in this framework, define their own ethical code, rooted in personal excellence, unapologetic dominance, and the relentless pursuit of self-actualized greatness. Slave morality *. Conversely, this is the morality of the weak, the oppressed, and the resentful. It elevates values such as submission, unquestioning obedience, and a sense of victimhood. It characterizes the mindset of the ruled, who, often unable to transcend their unfortunate conditions, construct elaborate moral systems that glorify suffering, humility, and inherent weakness. Instead of actively striving for power or personal triumph, they often harbor deep resentment towards those who possess it. Instead of seeking victory for themselves, they demonize and condemn those who achieve it. Slave morality preaches virtues like kindness, patience, and humility, not because they are intrinsically noble, but primarily because they serve to keep the weak from ever rebelling against their subdued position. The masses, therefore, are meticulously taught to believe that strength is inherently evil, ambition is selfish, and power is corrupt, a pervasive narrative designed to ensure that only a daring few ever truly aspire to claim it. The stark reality, then, is that morality is a profound choice, not an immutable law. The central question Nietzsche compels us to confront is this: will you passively live by the morality imposed upon you by society, or will you courageously create your own? If you rigidly cling to traditional morality, you risk remaining disempowered, trapped within a system specifically designed to maintain your weakness. However, if you boldly reject these conventional strictures and forge your own path, you possess the potential to become the undisputed architect of your own destiny. History, after all, does not immortalize the obedient, it remembers, with reverence, those who dared to rise above the herd. Success, far from being a random phenomenon, does not inherently favor the most moral, the kindest, or the most deserving. Instead, it consistently adheres to a set of underlying psychological laws, predictable patterns that unfailingly reward certain mindsets while punishing others. Across every conceivable domain, be it history, business, or politics, those who ascend to positions of formidable power do not do so primarily because they embody societal ideals of goodness. Rather, their success is directly attributable to the possession of specific, potent psychological traits that distinctly separate them from the ordinary masses. These traits are, in essence, the true currency of power, and those who master them are destined to dominate the world. Ambition, the relentless desire to rise. The foremost and most crucial trait distinguishing true winners is an insatiable ambition, a hunger so profound that nothing short of absolute victory can satisfy it. Ordinary individuals, content with their lot, tend to settle, making peace with mediocrity and accepting their circumstances. The truly ambitious, however, never do. They view every obstacle as a formidable challenge, every setback as vital fuel for their next ascent. Ambition isn't merely about dreaming, it is an all-consuming obsession, an unshakable conviction that one is destined for more, coupled with an absolute refusal to accept anything less. Reflect on history's greatest rulers, visionary CEOs, and revolutionary figures, none of them were ever truly content. They craved more, and they unhesitatingly took it. Decisiveness, inaction is death. In the high-stakes world of power, indecision is a fatal flaw. The weak hesitate, overanalyze every possible outcome, and constantly second-guess themselves. The strong, by contrast, act with unyielding resolve. Decisive leaders forge ahead, making decisions with remarkable speed and unshakable confidence. They do not idly wait for the elusive, perfect moment, they actively create it. Indecisive individuals allow fleeting opportunities to slip away, often paralyzed by an overwhelming fear of failure. Winners, on the other hand, boldly take calculated risks while others are still embroiled in endless debate. A decisive mindset does not equate to making reckless choices, it signifies trusting one's instincts, committing unequivocally to a chosen path, and then skillfully adjusting course as new information emerges. Fearlessness, embracing risk. Most people meticulously avoid risk, primarily due to an inherent fear of loss, rejection, or failure. The powerful, however, not only tolerate but actively embrace risk because they profoundly understand it is the non-negotiable price of victory. Fear, paradoxically, often serves as the invisible tether that keeps the weak confined to their comfort zones. They fear change, they fear standing out from the crowd, and they fear the unknown. The powerful, conversely, perceive fear as a potent compass. If something genuinely scares them, it often signifies it is precisely what is worth pursuing. Think of history's most successful figures, legendary conquerors, innovative entrepreneurs, radical revolutionaries. None of them played it safe, they were willing to risk everything because they intuitively knew that fortune invariably favors the bold. Strategic ruthlessness, knowing when to break the rules. The world consistently preaches the gospel of fairness, yet those who ascend to power grasp a brutal, underlying truth: the rules are only truly binding if one chooses to believe in them. The powerful do not blindly adhere to rules, instead, they meticulously analyze them. They play by them when it demonstrably benefits their agenda, and they unhesitatingly break them when necessary. They possess the acute discernment to recognize when kindness becomes a weakness and when, conversely, it can be deployed as a strategic weapon. Strategic ruthlessness is not about wanton cruelty for its own sake, it is about absolute effectiveness. It entails dispassionately removing emotion from critical decisions, severing whatever actively holds one back, and undertaking whatever actions are absolutely necessary, even if they are profoundly uncomfortable. The cold, hard truth remains: success unequivocally favors strength, not conventional morality. The world does not reward kindness, inherent morality, or perceived fairness. It rewards those who profoundly understand and masterfully apply the intricate psychology of power. Winners are not necessarily the most ethical, they are, without question, the most ambitious, decisive, fearless, and strategic. If you harbor the aspiration to rise, you must diligently cultivate these essential traits, for in the final analysis, power belongs exclusively to those audacious enough to take it. While power is undeniably seductive, it is equally, if not more, dangerous. Those who ascend to the summit through sheer ruthlessness, cunning manipulation, and overwhelming dominance might delude themselves into believing they are untouchable. However, history, with its countless cautionary tales, consistently narrates a different story. Those who ultimately fail to truly master power are invariably consumed and lose it. Ruthlessness can indeed secure power, often swiftly, but it offers no guarantee of longevity. The very same formidable force that elevates a brilliant ruler, a pioneering CEO, or a conquering general ultimately becomes the instrument of their downfall if left unchecked. Consider the tragic trajectory of Julius Caesar, who became the ultimate target of his own monumental success. Caesar was, without question, one of history's most brilliant and ambitious leaders. He exhibited unparalleled ruthlessness in battle, demonstrated profound cunning in the intricate game of Roman politics, and possessed a charisma so potent it allowed him to bend the formidable Roman Republic to his personal will. Yet, his eventual downfall was precisely this: he accumulated too much power, too swiftly. The Roman Senate, perceiving him as an existential threat to the Republic's delicate balance, turned against him. His former allies became his most dangerous enemies. His boundless ambition, once his greatest asset, ultimately transformed him into a vulnerable target. In 44 BC, he was brutally assassinated by those who had once stood loyally by his side. His tragic fate was not a mere coincidence, it was the chilling, unavoidable consequence of unbridled ambition. Then there is Napoleon Bonaparte, the man who, in his boundless ambition, conquered too much. Napoleon dramatically reshaped the entire political landscape of Europe, transforming France into an indomitable empire. His military brilliance was legendary, his strategic genius revolutionary, and his ambition knew no conceivable bounds. But this very power, in its intoxicating totality, ultimately blinded him. He disastrously overextended his reach, famously invading Russia despite numerous dire warnings. He catastrophically underestimated the resilience of his myriad enemies. His once unshakable confidence gradually morphed into debilitating arrogance, and, inevitably, his vast empire crumbled around him. From emperor to exile, Napoleon's story stands as a stark testament to the immutable truth that those who fail to control their insatiable hunger for power are, in the end, irrevocably consumed by it. In the modern world, the rise and spectacular fall of corporate giants mirror this ancient pattern, transforming industry titans into cautionary tales. Blockbuster, once the undisputed king of the video rental industry, famously dismissed Netflix as an insignificant upstart. Kodak, despite inventing the digital camera, stubbornly refused to fully embrace the technology, paralyzed by the fear it would cannibalize their lucrative film business. Once seemingly untouchable tech giants, brimming with hubris, grow too arrogant, convinced of their own invincibility, until the relentless tide of innovation leaves them irrevocably behind. Power does not tolerate stagnation. Those who fail to adapt, to evolve, and critically, to maintain vigilant control over their own hubris, are destined to inevitably fall. The overarching lesson is clear and unforgiving: master power, or be utterly destroyed by it. Having confronted these stark realities, we arrive at the ultimate truth of power: it is fundamentally about balance. Ruthlessness, though potent, is insufficient on its own, it must be meticulously paired with profound self-awareness. Dominance, while imposing, cannot endure without the guiding hand of wisdom. Success, no matter how spectacular, is meaningless if it cannot be sustained. The gravest error made by the powerful is the perilous belief that they are truly untouchable. The very moment they cease actively mastering power, power itself begins to master them. The crucial question that then confronts you, if you choose to rise, is this: will you diligently learn from the undeniable lessons of history, or will you succumb and fall like countless others before you? The true key to enduring power lies in this delicate, yet forceful, equilibrium. Those who blindly adhere to conventional morality often remain weak and constrained. Conversely, those who completely discard all ethical considerations risk becoming utterly reckless, self-destructive, and ultimately, unsustainable. The individuals who achieve lasting success without inadvertently destroying themselves are those who profoundly understand how to skillfully navigate the real rules of power. To truly master power, consider these indispensable principles. 1. Reject naive morality: goodness alone will not suffice. Many are raised within a comforting societal construct that posits hard work, inherent kindness, and unwavering virtue are the sole conduits to success, that the world inherently rewards good people and justly punishes the wicked. However, the relentless truths of history and raw reality emphatically prove otherwise. The world, in its true operation, does not function on the principle of fairness. The strong, those who command influence, do not wait for permission, they act. Those who blindly follow a rigid, naive morality often become unwitting victims of those who masterfully manipulate its perceived limitations. This precept is not an exhortation to become a villain, rather, it is an imperative to see through the illusion. Play by the rules judiciously when they demonstrably serve your objectives, but possess the sagacity to know precisely when to strategically bend or break them when they do not. Embrace strength, develop the traits that truly matter. If genuine power is your aspiration, you must proactively sculpt yourself into an individual who inherently commands it. This command arises not solely through deception or manipulation, but fundamentally through authentic, undeniable strength. Ambition *, set goals so audacious, so immense, that they genuinely frighten you. Let this fear be a catalyst, not a constraint. Confidence * cease seeking external approval or validation. Own your unique path, with unwavering self-assurance. Decisiveness * when a crucial choice presents itself, make it swiftly and without hesitation. People are naturally drawn to, and follow, those who radiate decisive power, not those who passively beg for it. Stay strategic, master the art of calculated action. Many mistakenly believe that power is exclusively about ruthlessly crushing all opposition. However, the most enduringly powerful figures throughout history profoundly understood that strategic alliances, meticulous planning, and impeccable timing are just as critical as outright dominance. Julius Caesar, for instance, meticulously forged powerful alliances before making his decisive move to seize Rome. Niccolò Machiavelli eloquently articulated the necessity of understanding when to project an aura of kindness and when, conversely, to inspire fear. Great leaders don't indiscriminately destroy everyone, they skillfully cultivate loyal followers and astute partners. The cardinal rule here is to never permit emotions to dictate your actions. If calculated ruthlessness is pragmatically required, employ it without remorse. If kindness strategically benefits your long-term objectives, embrace it wholeheartedly. Your morality, in this discerning view, should serve as a flexible tool, not a restrictive cage. Adapt and evolve, only those who change truly survive. If history has imparted one immutable lesson, it is this: those who steadfastly refuse to evolve are inevitably doomed to fall. Empires, once seemingly invincible, collapse when they stubbornly refuse to adapt to emerging threats or new geopolitical realities. Businesses, no matter how dominant, crumble when they ignorantly disregard disruptive innovation. Leaders, once revered, falter and fall when they succumb to complacency. The true masters of power grasp this fundamental truth: rigidity is death, continuous evolution is the very essence of survival. If you seek lasting success, you must cultivate an unyielding willingness to change, to grow, and to deftly shift your approach whenever circumstances demand it. The strongest are not merely the most ruthless, the strongest are those who possess the profound capacity to learn, to adapt, and ultimately, to endure. The balance of power and morality * power does not inherently have to corrupt, nor does success necessarily have to destroy. The greatest leaders, profound thinkers, and formidable conquerors throughout history understood that true strength resides not in blind, unthinking ruthlessness, nor in a naive, rigid adherence to morality, but rather in a masterful command over both. So, the critical question arises: will you remain a mere pawn of the system, passively accepting its dictates? Will you be a brute who rises only to inevitably fall, consumed by your own unbridled force? Or will you boldly forge the third path, a path of strength wielded with discerning wisdom, strength without self-destructive corruption? The world, in its unvarnished reality, does not operate on the principles of fairness. It neither universally rewards morality nor reliably punishes evil. Instead, it rewards strength. It rewards those who profoundly understand how power truly functions, those who are strategic, ambitiously driven, and fearless enough to decisively take what they desire. Most people live under an illusion, steadfastly believing that hard work and virtue alone will guarantee their success. But history, in its relentless recounting, tells a dramatically different story. The individuals who ascend to the pinnacles of power are not necessarily the smartest or the kindest; they are, without exception, the ones who comprehend the intricate game and play it with unmatched proficiency. Power belongs to those who perceive reality for precisely what it is, not for what they wish it to be. Power itself is neither intrinsically good nor inherently bad. It is, ultimately, a potent tool, a formidable force of nature, a double-edged weapon capable of building majestic empires or obliterating entire civilizations. In the hands of fools, it inevitably leads to chaos. In the hands of tyrants, it breeds unimaginable suffering. But in the hands of the wise and self-aware, it possesses the capacity to profoundly shape and elevate.